Sew, a podcast about sewing machines, sewing history, and sewing culture in the past and present. I am your producer and co-host, Aradia, daughter of your main host, T.R. Kelly, who is here today to talk to you about fast fashion, our third main theme of topics aside from machine history and tales of sales, planned obsolescence, becoming a thing that has tainted everything from our fibers to our fabrications, the loss of natural fibers and domestic union jobs, the nasty truth about rayon, and of course, a few practical steps that you can take to improve your interaction with the textile industry and its waste stream. The purpose of this episode is to introduce our first real look into our third pillar for making this podcast: calls to action in fighting fast fashion. We're also just continuing to figure out our creative and technical rhythms with making this podcast. In this episode, you will hear a couple of sound effects we wanted to play with, a different microphone setup, and of course this intro and companion outro that I am adding right here. Although I am an experienced podcaster in some regards, we are also just at the dawn of a new project, and so there are inevitably some growing pains. We hope you will not only bear with us, but give us constructive feedback on what you do or don't enjoy about this show, so that we can grow in ways that are fun for everyone. You can always write to us at usedtosew@gmail.com. Remember that 2 is the number 2. With that, I think it is time to dive into our longest episode yet. And speaking of this being the longest episode, one other thing that you're going to notice this episode is that we actually have ad breaks in the middle of the episode. This episode was long enough to justify having ads not just at the beginning and the end, but also in the middle. There is a little musical bump to let you know that you're going in and out of the ad break. And if ads really aren't your thing, you can support us over on Patreon and get access to an ad-free RSS feed for the podcast. It's very easy to put into your podcast player, so it shows up just like any other podcast that you might be listening to. I promise it's very easy. For as little as $1 a month, you can have access to our ad-free podcast feed, because we want you to have access to that if it is at all within your means. So if you don't like the ads, please head over to Patreon and support us for an ad-free feed. Otherwise, you're going to learn that little musical bump and that skip button, and you're going to be like everyone else who skips podcast ads. So anyway, just wanted to put that in there. Thank you.
Welcome to Used to Sew. Today we are going to talk about two interrelated issues in the sewing and textile industry that we're talking about here, which is sewing machines and fabric and clothing, which goes with sewing machines, right? Because we've learned, why did we invent sewing machines? Because we want more clothes. Well, we got more clothes.
So many more clothes.
We've got big, huge sandbanks of clothes. As you might have heard us mention earlier, the African nation of Ghana is awash in, I can't remember the term, but it translates to dead white man's clothes, because that's where all your well-meaning thrift store donations eventually wind up. Yeah, your neighbor Bob did not buy your old shirt.
So, fast fashion. It's a problem. How do we grapple with it and fix it?
What is fast fashion? When did it start? And what do we do about it? Because you can do something about it, and we're going to get to that. We're going to tell you what you can do, but we're going to tell you what the problem is first. The problem is, it goes back to, now that we have fabric, now that we have sewing machines, now that we have factories making cloth and factories full of people sewing on sewing machines, making clothes, fashion becomes a thing. I mean, fashion has always been a thing. People have always dressed up to show their status and their rank. But with the invention of the sewing machine, especially now, average people could have more clothes. And having more clothes gives your social vocabulary more words, which is what fashion kind of is.
Right. This isn't just seasonal functionality.
No. Now we're having fashion is a visual jargon that social creatures use. Even think of like birds that change plumage for breeding season.
Sure.
We have words for people that are like birds for when they're all dressed up and fancy, right? So
peacocks.
Peacocks. Yeah, that's a man who dresses very fancy is a peacock, okay? So now you've got the ability to add more clothing to your wardrobe fairly inexpensively. You don't have to hire a tailor. You can buy ready to wear. Even in a man's suit, which was about the last thing that became mass produced. But especially after World War II, again, this is a hinge in sewing machine and textile and fabric world. Oh my God, we not only have the ability to make clothes in great quantities, we have a whole new bunch of fabrics to work with. We have synthetic fabrics, which came out of the war effort.
The post-war industrial boom.
Right?
Better living through chemistry.
So paratroops were a huge part of the war effort, and there was a silk shortage. Inventing artificial silk
for parachutes
was for parachutes and for ropes, cordage, all kinds of things. You needed, but parachutes. All the nylon, which was the one synthetic that had been produced, was going to parachute. Because all the government's labs were working on, and all DuPont and all the private industry, synthetic fibers. Well, now it's after the war, and we have all these cool things. We have acrylic and Dacron and there was all these trade names. I remember this when I was a kid, and you'd get the catalogs with all the new school clothes, and they would be touting that they were made of acrylic and spun polyester and just. But gosh, I wish I could remember some of the trade names. There was acetates and triacetates and polyesters and acrylics, and all these were petrochemical. They all come from oil. They're all plastic.
It's so funny how now that's the kind of thing that will be put in really small text down at the bottom where no one can read it. But you're talking about a time when that was big banner text in fancy fonts.
Because look what we can do. This is the age of strawberry flavored beverages, and they tout that there is no strawberries in there.
Touting it.
Isn't it wonderful what science can do?
Yeah.
We're not chained. We can make anything. Now, the reason science was doing this was to, of course, allay the fear of nuclear annihilation. We're in control. We're not letting this get away. We can make fake strawberries, and we can make acrylic sweaters.
And it is your patriotic duty to consume these things.
And clothes changed. It used to be summer and winter.
Right.
That was
which makes sense.
Made sense. That was the
true
natural
seasons.
season. And if people were going to dress up and down for the season, they usually did it with hats and gloves and things like that.
Sure, heavier weights of the same thing.
Different collars that you would sew on your dress, based on your dress. But after ready to wear happens, synthetic fabric happens, clothing becomes even cheaper because of oil subsidies, the plastic industry, all the industries. And the ubiquitousness of, okay, we have Walmart and stuff like that nowadays, and Shane and stuff. Well, back then we had Sears and Kmart, Pennies and Montgomery Ward's and all these other low price outlets. Sears was pretty classy for a catalog store.
Sure.
They had really good stuff. Their sewing machines, as I've talked about, are excellent. But anyway, the 50s and 60s, large families, lots of kids, back to school. Here comes the Sears catalog. And you get underwear for 29 cents and this and that, and acrylic. Polyester, nylon. What happened to wool and cotton and linen? Well, linen has to be ironed. It doesn't look modern and crisp. It's very old-fashioned. I don't tell that to the rich people. Wool is out. Wool is just not cool because wool gets eaten by moths. And to take care of wool so it doesn't get eaten by moths is hard. It takes space. It takes time. Takes toxic chemicals.
Yeah, mothballs are nothing to sneeze at, literally.
Silk was still very expensive.
Sure.
Not like now.
And then cotton.
Cotton was, when I was a kid, was considered poor people's fabric.
But it's so soft and lightweight. It's so practical.
In the mid-century, it was the age of synthetics.
Yeah.
Now, okay, where does this lead to fast fashion? That was a real start. Now, clothes start to change 4 times a year. And that's when the new catalogs come out. Remember, folks, I'm speaking from a working class, lower middle class perspective here. When the catalogs came out, that was a big deal. You kids remember going home. Where's the toy section? Flip, 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 flip. That's when I actually started looking at sewing machines. Those catalogs. Ooh, 29 stitches. And, of course, the profit motive being what it is, nowadays our fashion cycle, I'm skipping decades here, but I want to get to where we're at now. If you're online at all, you're familiar with Shein and Temu and H&M and any number of popular clothing brands, and you look and you read in the labels where these things are made.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they made out of?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
labels are enlightening.
let me just tell you, when I was a kid, we had commercials on TV, and I still remember the song. You've got to look for the Union label. And it was a big deal. And there was, if your clothes were good, they had the ILGW, International Ladies Garment Workers Union tag sewn in. And this was pride. You knew this was made in the United States by union workers.
That sounds magical to me.
When you find those in thrift stores nowadays, it's like, yeah, this is when clothes were good. This is when clothes were good. You pick up a garment that's got that label in it, the fit and finish are excellent. The sewing is well done. The buttons don't fall off. The fabric is high quality fabric made in American fabric mills, usually in South Carolina of all places.
Sure.
In fact, when I worked in the fabric business, all of our store brand fabric came from a town called Malden, South Carolina.
Oh, wow. A town. Yeah. All the fabric from A town.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Textiles were big on the East Coast because of the fall line, water wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
So the textile industry grew up on the Piedmont,
Sure, okay.
More history for later. So reading the labels in your clothes. You're not probably going to find any American, I don't know who still makes clothes in America with union.
I've never seen a clothing label with union on it. You taught me at a very young age to check on, what's in your fabric, where's it from, because it's interesting. And I've never seen a union label that I can think of. Yeah. That's just not a thing that exists. I've seen stuff made in America occasionally, very occasionally, but never union made.
1980.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah. So really nice vintage clothes from the 50s and 60s. Hand-sewn hems and stuff. This is not tailor stuff. This is just high-end retail stuff. And even low-end retail stuff. And there wasn't, when were clothes being made overseas? When I first, read where it is. And I'm saying made in USA. Okay, Levi's, all the things. Pendleton shirts. These are things that are sewn in the U.S. Or they're not now. Oh, no, they're not. What happened? Globalism, deregulation, shipping, mostly capitalism and labor costs. Oh, yeah, your union wants how much an hour to sew these shirts? We're going to take them over to country XYZ. They'll do it for... And there went the American textile industry, all the tariffs and everything. And so now all of our textile stuff comes from overseas, which is all those cute clothes you see on Facebook, every single one of them. Don't care what the brand is. They know what you're going to respond to. Where is it made? I almost got sucked into buying a, quote, Icelandic sweater.
Oh?
The high-end ones, yes, are made in Iceland, but 80% of the line is knitted in China.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
All the things you see advertised, Scandinavian socks, this, that, and the other thing. Now, they cannot, in the United States, lie about where it came from. Of course, I'm sure somebody is. And even made in USA, there are sweatshops in the USA.
Right. It's not like we're a paragon of labor.
Mostly in Southern California.
Sure.
With immigrant labor, as always, people who have no recourse.
Right.
That's who's sewing your fast fashion. This is what contributed to the famous Triangle Shirtwaist Fire of 1912.
Right.
Fast fashion. how many blouses, this was the age of the shirtwaist, triangle shirtwaist fire. Shirtwaist is an old name for a blouse. The whole idea of wearing separates was fairly new. It had been all dresses before, right. But the idea of wearing a separate
top and a bottom
skirt, this was a new thing. So this was a fad. The fad was winding down by 1912.
Okay.
Shirtwaists were now kind of a lower middle class thing. You know, it had
regular people could use them now.
Yes, it had penetrated. And so all these factories making shirtwaists, fast fashion, you can buy it in the store. This wonderful blouse for 95 cents. Nobody can sew that for 95 cents. There goes another blow to the sewing machine industry, right? As well. So fast fashion has never been kind to its workers because people are shopping for the cheapest. The customers are driving this. Who's at fault? The customers. Without demand, there will be no supply. Do you continue to buy fast fashion because it's cute? It's cheap? It was only $12. Well, I bought it at Ross. They're going to throw it away anyway. Where? To Ghana? Eventually? Don't buy it in the first place. This is your call to action. Read the label. Not only where was it made, what's it made out of?
Yes, the other side.
Fabric is not recyclable.
No.
Blends are not recyclable. Wool can be shredded and respun. Any wool that's not virgin has probably been respun. It's rougher, but it's usable. Cotton can always be reused. Linen, all those things are made into paper, high-grade paper. There is no synthetic fabric that can be recycled. No matter what the REI, Patagonia, North Face websites tell you, no. Technically, it is possible to melt that stuff down and make new plastic clothes out of it. At what energy cost?
Right.
And
what
it's
emissions?
Still shedding plastic into the environment.
Yeah, wearing a plastic bag around is not necessarily great, even on a moment-to-moment basis. You're shedding microplastics into yourself and into your environment.
How much of your dryer lint is plastic fiber from those cute Shane clothes, if they made it through the laundry cycle? This is another thing. What is it made of? It's made of the cheapest blends because this is fast fashion. It's considered disposable. They're not going to put the best fabric into this stuff. The dry clean only label is a lie because nobody's going to pay to dry clean a $6 blouse. And if you put it in the washer, it's going to fall apart. And it's going to look cheap or worn out after a few laundry cycles, and you're going to give it to Goodwill because you think some poor kid's going to buy it and wear it. No, it's going to wind up embedded in the sand in Ghana for 10,000 years. Isn't that cute, that little $6.99 shirt? You depressed now? Can I make it worse?
Yes, make it worse. Let us wallow in the existential dread.
But I don't buy plastic fabrics. I buy rayon. Rayon's natural. It's biodegradable. It's made from plants. I'm going to bust your bubble, people. Bamboo fabric is one of the most toxic things we've learned how to make.
Oh, no.
Those soft bamboo sheets, those bamboo tank tops, that bamboo knit leggings. Okay, rayon. Okay, they're telling you, okay, if you see the word rayon, viscose, because it'll say bamboo viscose, bamboo rayon, or it'll say, usually that's about the only one that they'll actually say, or linen. Rayon can be made out of any cellulosic plant. Trees.
Gotcha. It's just one of the ingredients of those kinds of plant constructions.
So rayon, okay, check this out. I'm going to give you guys an analogy here. Rayon to linen is as refined white sugar is to sugar cane.
Ooh, okay. Okay, because sugar is something you find in a lot of different plants, and you could ostensibly refine white sugar from a lot of things.
You can. Sugar cane and sugar beets are the two main ones.
Right. But sugar cane juice is very, very different from beet juice before they get refined down.
They're plants. They contain sugar. They also contain fiber and structure and all this stuff. And to make refined sugar out of them, you press out the little special juice. The addiction, right? So in rayon, okay, you take these rough, scratchy wrinkly fibers like linen. Okay, well, rayon came from, again, the war, the need for artificial silk. So we invented artificial silk. Okay, so you take your woody plants, your bamboo. Oh, but it's organic. It don't matter, because what happens next? They soak it in toxic chemicals. So many toxic chemicals. Oh, it's just horrid. People who are rayon workers to this very day, this is how rayon is made, and most all of it's made in Southeast Asia because bamboo, because cheap fibrous plants, because rainforest. Rayon workers are known for their horrific acid burns, alkali burns, chemical burns all over their arms, hands. They have breathing problems.
Wow.
Working in rayon factories to make this fabric.
Yeah. No, Brandon, my husband, for everyone who doesn't know, my husband works processing data for the pulp and paper industry. And you're talking about things that also exist in the pulp and paper industry, because these ingredients are just found in trees and they have to do mechanical and chemical processes to break the trees apart, get out that material that you can then make paper from. It's a very similar process up until some final steps.
I hadn't realized, but that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Paper and rayon, because if you do the burn test on fabric, if your piece smells like burnt paper and curls and burns quickly, it's rayon.
Because it's basically the same thing.
It's wearable paper. Wow, I hadn't thought of that, but you're so right. Okay, we're here learning with you today.
And he only crunches data here in North America, so it's very different, in terms of its overall impact. It's different workers, different labor, all that.
There's no regulations over there for that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Just like for the labor of making the clothes, making the fibers is just as bad. The whole thing's bad.
Okay, so then the fiber's made and you've got all your rayon. Now it has to be bleached. Okay, that's a whole nother layer of toxin right there. Then it has to be dyed.
Oh, dyeing is one of those. Oof.
So yes, rayon, when you see it in the store, it drapes, it feels, it's very comfortable in hot weather, but it's fragile to take care of. It doesn't last long. There's ways to make rayon that are high quality, but most of what you'll find in the fabric store is not high quality rayon. But at its heart, rayon is toxic to make, to the people who make it, to the earth absorbing it's not a good choice. If you want to be organic and least impact through your fabric choices, you're going to pick hemp, linen, ramie, wool. If you're a vegan, you're not going to pick wool or silk. But my personal favorite fabrics are wool and linen, because I'm Scottish, don't you know?
I'm a really big fan of linen, of all the fabrics out there. I consider them the
same thing.
Yeah, they have a really pleasant scratchiness. I definitely have acquired some rayon because it's so fluffy and floofy. And I got some bamboo sheets because we got a new size bed, had to get new sheets. And they make so much more lint than all the rest of my clothes combined. They're falling apart so fast. They're falling apart real. And I don't wash my clothing or my sheets very aggressively. I wash them cold and gentle and all that. And so much more lint in the dryer than basically all my other clothes. Because most of my other clothes have been through the ringer several times. So most of the lint's gone. But those sheets are falling apart way faster than any other sheets I've ever had.
Wow. I have some bamboo sheets, but Randy does the laundry, and that's not something that he's going to notice. I noticed that once there's oil stains from body hair, that you can't get it out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's weird fabric. My recommendation for sheets is the best linen or the best real Egyptian cotton. Even then, organic. Organicness matters more to the earth in your textile choices because of the nasty junk they're allowed to put on cotton in particular.
Because you're not going to eat it.
Organic cotton is labor intensive and it's worth it.
Yeah. So let me ask you something else about fabric. When you were talking about recyclability, I was thinking, of course, as a farmer, I was thinking about composting.
Oh, yeah.
And like if you can take old fabric and put that, either into a bonfire or into nature for birds or into a compost pile, like there are ways to get rid of old fabric that is made from organic material that you can't with synthetic.
There's also ways to get rid of synthetic fabric. I'm going to tell you this, because this is one of your calls to action, is to not buy any more synthetic clothing.
Right. Reduce. The most important R of the trifecta.
Please do buy it at thrift stores, because that's already in the waste stream. But you're not going to get rid of it. You're going to sequester it, because you're going to take it out of the waste stream. You're going to buy it, you're going to save it, you're going to take it out of the waste stream. This really applies to people who have land or buildings. And I learned this from a video from Mexico, in the high parts of Mexico where it's really cold at night. They use polyester clothes for insulation. They stuff their walls full of it.
Take that cold for the next 10,000 years.
Rodents won't nest in it. Bugs can't eat it. It's like, oh my God. The little cabin we built at Leisureland, the River House, is very insulated with old clothes.
I didn't know that.
We would stuff them down from the top, but only polyester, not cotton, not wool.
Yeah.
Wool, as all the organic van life people have found out, is not an ideal thing to insulate your van with, because it will attract moths. And you will have a moth infestation that never stops.
That sounds unpleasant.
You can't get back at it because they can get into the cracks, but you can't. And then you've got to pesticide your place. So for insulation, there is enough polyester fabric on this planet for everybody to shred some. Take the buttons and zippers off. Cut it up into nice packable pieces. Put it in your walls. Put it in the walls of your barn. Insulate buildings that you didn't think you could afford to insulate. Not only are you getting rid of your polyester clothes, you're not buying new insulation. Right?
Spending less on heating and cooling costs, all that good stuff.
If you don't own your own land and you don't know where to put these clothes, I don't know what to tell you about that. I can't solve your problems. I'm just giving you one idea. And I'm telling you, don't buy any more. And if you do, plan for its end of life. There is no way.
Right. Though with some, cotton garments.
You were asking about compost. Okay. Yeah. Cotton composts very well. Linen does too. It takes longer for the natural fibers. I don't actually know about silk. I'm sure it does, because it's a protein fiber. And like wool, it will be attacked by moths eventually. Any of the hair fibers, alpaca, anything. Because there is creatures to eat that.
Invertebrates will be getting to it.
Well, that's the whole point of decay. There has to be something that eats it.
Right.
Cotton and linen, I mean, if you've got, here's an example. Moldy cotton. You're never going to get those stains out, and the fabric has been physically weakened. What do? It's great mulch. Put in your garden for soil texture, building. And you also said something about birds. Please, people, do not leave fabric out for birds. Please don't. Don't ever leave thread, fabric scraps. The smallest bit can get wrapped around their toes and cause amputation and death. If you want to put something out for birds, brush your dog.
Dog hair's about the right length and strength.
And if you got chickens, get all the molted fluffy feathers out, but don't you're not helping the birds. Just don't. I'm going to say that as many times as I can. Do not put out fabric and textiles for birds.
What about blended fabrics? You've got like a cotton poly blend.
That's
Is that
the worst.
Okay? Yeah. How do you deal with that?
It's the worst. And I was telling you, what's it made out of? When you look in your fast fashion, you will see the cheaper the fabric, the more things are in it. Because global textile market waxes and wanes with what's available. So if I want to make super cheap fabric, can I get acetate really cheap right now? Can I get this, that, or the other thing? So I was going to buy a pair of wool leggings I saw on Facebook. And I clicked all through it. And yes, they have my size. It's another thing about fast fashion, they get you in. They got everybody's size. Because, right? I get to, what's it made out of? It's only 81% wool. And then nylon and spandex. Some other synthetic. So there were 3 synthetics in there. That's not going to recycle. I can't shred that up and make I mean, that's not going to decompose. The wool will rot, and all that other stuff is still there in a matrix. Like if you've ever, cotton poly t-shirts, 50-50. Cotton poly t-shirt, classic American thing. Go leave it outside for a few years. Bury it in the dirt. Just put some dirt over it, bury it. Dig it back up. What's left? The thread, a fine knit matrix of the polyester warp, because it's usually polyester warp and cotton weft, or I can't remember which direction, but as they're knitting it, the rib trim around the neck is going to be elastic. So you're going to see, if you put an all cotton garment out and bury it, when you dig it back up, it's going to be like a skeleton.
A ghost of its former self.
Yeah. The cotton's gone. The earth took that back, but all the zipper, the polyester tape of the zipper, the polyester buttons, anything that's not, it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, you can wear unbleached wool shirts with horn buttons.
That seems like a really practical plan for everyone. We can all just easily shift our wardrobes to that, you know?
It's, don't be beating yourselves up, folks. We have what we have. I just want you to have the knowledge to make choices about going forward. You cannot go back and fix what you did, and nobody's judging you about that. I wore mode acrylic skirts. I hated them too because they don't breathe. And oh my gosh, a lot of those awesome fabrics were fire hazards in the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh, there were so many terrible accidents and injuries from flammable fabrics and birthday candles, actually, in the 50s. The reason you would put a little bit of nylon in wool, and I can see this in socks, is then they don't stretch out of shape.
Right, it gives them that spring back.
But again, it's microplastics. It'll never go away. It'll get smaller than you can see it, but then micro creatures are eating it.
Yeah.
Now, right now, I am wearing crap for clothes, except for my shoes, which are hand felted out of wool, and they've got leather soles sewn onto them, but the thread is nylon.
Yeah, then you're wearing leggings, which are very unnatural.
Terrible. And I've got this 100% polyester knit skirt. This will be around long after I'm gone.
And then a standard t-shirt.
This is a 50-50 cotton poly t-shirt. My underwear, however, are completely biodegradable. Oh, no, they're not. They've got elastic. Oh, Radia's taking out her.
I just realized I could yoink the tag off my shirt. Yeah, this is a 50-50. So I'm wearing corduroy pants.
100% cotton.
So that's 100% cotton, and that's fabric that I like scrounged and upcycled. So the pants are very righteous, but the shirt that I'm wearing, which is a shirt I thematically got for us, it's our common thread t-shirt. It is a 50-50 cotton poly.
Where was it made?
I believe it was made USA Strong, assembled in Nicaragua of U.S. components. That is what this is made of.
We ship our stuff down there because they sew it cheaper. There's no International Ladies Garment Workers Union in Nicaragua.
USA Strong.
Oh, so many of them tried. Designed in USA was a big one.
Yeah.
A lot of people just put the flag on, but it's got to say, in this country, clothing has to be labeled with country of origin.
Yeah.
And with care. How do you take care of it? Dry clean only? If you didn't pay $200 for it, no. No, don't.
Gentle clean, just cold. And also, like, that's the thing with if you wash your clothes on cold, it's better for the environment because, like, energy costs and your clothes wear out slower. I have learned my clothes have worn out much slower than some of my friends because I am very gentle. And also I hang dry because I like playing with wet laundry. And again, less energy demands.
Oh, and no lint. Because lint is your clothes.
Right, you told me that, and now I'm like, no, I gotta like gently urge the dirt out, but not the fabric.
No, the mechanical laundry is devastating to your clothes. The wringer washer was way better as far as like how it treats your clothes. Squeezing, not the agitation and the friction wears out the fabric. You'll really see this on rayon. So, like, when I would sell people rayon, I'm like, are you going to make a garment with this? And it was usually a sundress or a shirt. Wash it on cold, wash it inside out, but don't put it in the dryer. Everybody's gone to the thrift store. Not anymore. They don't even bother to put them out anymore. Seen the wrinkled rayon mess. Oops. I hope Honey doesn't see that. Toss.
So you were talking about, you know, not to feel ashamed of our choices in the past because we didn't know any better and da-da-da. But also this is all driven by demand from the consumer. Oh, it is. So this brings me to the absolute mind pretzel of planned obsolescence.
Oh, boy. Well, fast fashion is planned obsolescence warp speed.
Right. We've been handed a system full of planned obsolescence and been expected to navigate it.
Because consumerism.
Yeah.
Because capitalism. Because profit margin. Because their love of money.
And you were talking earlier, before we got on mic, about how the fast fashion of clothing, the disposability of clothing, actually also ties into the disposability of sewing machines, and how sewing machines went from these 200-year lifespan monsters to a few go-arounds and parts are breaking, pieces of trash. It's all related, right?
It is so, as I was researching for this episode, I came across this parallel with sewing machines and what is sewn on sewing machines. How people used to sew. But, of course, like so many other breaks in American culture, the Second World War was when, let's see, I'm going to find this thing because I want to read it. It's too cool. Okay, I found this on, what is this, Instagram? The person's name is Viridian River. And the title of their thing here was Sewing Machines and Planned Obsolescence. So I'm just going to use this. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to synopsize this article as I read through it. This person got 2 sewing machines made 100 years apart. An old treadle machine from the 20s that they pulled out of a trash on a rainy day, and a new brother sewing machine from about 2020. The person says, I've always known planned obsolescence was a thing, but never knew just how insidious it was until I started looking at these 2 sewing machines side by side.
A century of change.
I wasn't feeling hopeful at first that I'd actually be able to fix the old one. I found it in the trash at 2 a.m. in a thunderstorm. It was rusty, dusty, soggy, squeaky, missing parts, and 100 years old. How do you even find specialized parts 100 years later? Well, easily, it turns out. The manufacturers at that time didn't just make parts backward compatible to be consistent across the years, but also often interchangeable across brands. Imagine that today, being able to grab a part from an old iPhone to fix your Android. And the person goes on to say, anyway, 6 months after having them both, I can confidently say that my busted-up trash machine is far better than the new one or any consumer-grade sewing machine on the market. Then the person shows a picture, old machine guts. The old machine can sew through a pile of leather thicker than my finger like it's nothing. It's actually terrifying, and I treat it like a power tool.
I mean, for real, though.
At high speeds, it's well balanced. It doesn't shake. The parts are all metal, attached by standard flathead screws, designed to be simple and strong, easily reachable, repairable, and replaceable. The tools I need to work on it, a screwdriver and oil. Lost my screwdriver? That's okay, a knife works too. Then there's a picture of new machine guts. Now remember, this is a brother from 2020. Okay. 100 years later, new machine guts. The new machine's skipping stitches now that the plastic parts are starting to wear out. It's always throwing software errors, and it damn near shakes itself apart at top speed. Look at these innards. There's a picture. I could barely fit a borescope camera that's as thick as spaghetti in there, let alone my fingers. Very little is attached with standard screws. This part's interesting, and it's infuriating. I'm an engineer. There's no damn reason to make high-wear parts out of plastic.
None.
This is the key in sewing machines. Keep that in mind. Or put them in places they can't be reached to replace. There's no reason to make your mechanism so unbalanced that it's reaching the point of failure before reaching its own design speed.
Gee, yeah.
It was made to go 100, but don't take it over 80.
Scathing review from the facts department.
100 years, and your standard home sewing machine, this is again from Viridian River, 100 years, and your standard home sewing machine has gone from a beast of a machine that can be pulled out of literal waterlogged trash and repaired, to a machine that eats itself if you sew anything but delicate, fast fashion fabrics, also designed to fall apart in a few years.
Appreciative slam poetry snapping. Like, oh my God.
And if you go into a fabric store now, all the fabrics themselves are made in Southeast Asia. When I worked in a fabric store, all of our fabrics were made in the USA, and some exotic fabrics, quote, quote, were made in China. Usually fancy
Right,
stuff.
fancy shit that's very specific. It's not being outsourced. It's unique to the region.
Yeah. And now you go into the fabric stores even smell different.
Yeah, I bet they do.
and you hold up the fabric and you can see the weave, and things are just so cheap.
That line about it's made to so fast fashion,
Let me read that again. 100 years, your standard home sewing machine has gone from a beast of a machine that can be pulled out of the trash and fixed to a machine that eats itself if you sew anything but delicate, fast fashion fabrics that are also designed to fall apart in a few years.
That's a bad century of change, you know? That's going downhill. That's bad.
Then this is like, we have the technology and knowledge to manufacture, quote, those old sewing machines still. Hell, even better, sewing machines with that mechanical design quality, but with more modern features. It would be so easy at a technical level to start building things well again. Hell, it's easier to fabricate something sturdy than to engineer something to fail at just the right time.
Oh my God. For real though.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the insidious part, is like you had to work, like maliciously work to make things this bad. This level of shittiness is not accidental. It has to be on purpose. I mean, it's accumulation of many generations working together, but still, you have to be trying to make it this bad.
Okay, now this is from Wiki. Thank you to all the people that are as nerdily into niche stuff as we are, because they really want to make sure that things are right and footnoted. So we're going to go back to the mid-century here. What is planned obsolescence? Like, we hear that phrase, and we kind of know what it means. In economics and industrial design, planned obsolescence is the concept of designing a product with an artificially limited useful life or purposefully frail design, so that it becomes obsolete after a certain predetermined period of time, upon which it suddenly ceases to function, functions less well, or is perceived as unfashionable. Right? Now let's tie back into the fashion cycle, to the planned obsolescence cycle for machinery. Okay. The rationale behind the strategy, of course, is to generate long-term sales volume by reducing the time between repeat purchases, referred to as shortening the replacement cycle. It is the deliberate shortening of the lifespan of a product, either through fashion or function, to force people to purchase replacements. Okay. The history of planned obsolescence, this is where it gets good. 1920s.
All right, 100 years ago.
In 1924, actually.
Precisely 100 years ago.
The American automobile market. Now, I've drawn the parallel, and I will continue to draw the parallel between sewing machines and cars as the most important mechanical things that shaped our life now. In 1924, the American automobile market began reaching saturation point. What that means is everybody who wants a car has got a car.
Right.
And because cars are new and exciting, they've been built really well, right? We're competing. We want to build the best car. Right. So got all these, I mean, if you look back over the beginning of car manufacturing and sewing machine manufacturing, there were a lot of small manufacturers, and everybody was trying to build the best car. General Motors, which was the biggest of the big, and they were slowly buying out the little guys, because the less competition you have, the shittier you can make your product, and people will still have to buy it.
Yep, kind of got us captive when you're the only game in town.
Right. So this happened to Singer in the 60s. We'll get to that too. General Motors in 1924, their top executive suggested an annual model year design change to convince car owners to buy new replacements each year with refreshed appearances, headed by Harley Earl and the art and color section. Dynamic obsolescence, meaning it's not any different, but it looks different.
It's just the fashion. It's not the function. Right. It's still a car. It's still going to get however many 100,000 miles. It's still whatever, has heated seats, but the lights are shaped. The light thing is shaped a little different.
Start to see this in the 50s and 60s especially.
Different shade of red. It goes slightly faster.
So this guy in 1924, it's like, this strategy had far-reaching effects in the product design field and eventually the whole American economy, because The smaller players could not maintain the pace and expense of yearly restyling of their products.
Because it's completely impractical and they were built to do practical things.
Exactly. Henry Ford, let's see, Chevy, General Motors started it. Ford says he did not like the constant stream of model year changes because he clung to the engineer's notion of simplicity, economy of scale, and design integrity.
You know, Henry Ford had a mixed bag of ideas.
He did.
He had a real mixed bag.
He was really controversial on a lot of his stuff, but he also promoted the notion that his car had to be affordable for the people that were building them.
Right. And now he's mad at make and model year bullshit. It's hard not to like him sometimes.
Yeah. But GM surpassed Ford's sales in 1931 because Ford wouldn't keep up. Now, Singer did the same thing. They would not change. They produced the 201 clear up until the 60s. People did not want that old-fashioned looking machine.
And Singer was like, fuck you, I'll sell what I want.
I mean, the 301, they started to style away from the curvy sewing machine body with the 301, which was an aluminum machine first, the featherweight in the 301. But anyway, this is a fascinating thing among sewing machine collectors. The 401A Singer, everybody knows the 401A, right? You guys quilters, oh, the 401A. Okay, it's all metal, direct drive, blah, meow. The 500A, the famous Rocketeer, is the exact same machine with a different outside. Same cam stack, same motors, only the appearance has been restyled. Same colors, though. Just a different shape. Now, isn't that funny? First, we went from black. Singer's first different color machines were tan, because that was still, tan, and a few green ones. But they were late to the zigzag boat, and they were late to the styling update boat, just like Ford here.
Wow, so Singer and Ford are kind of paralleling in the automobile sewing machine parallel. Right. These two are sort of on their track.
They were both pioneers in their industries too. Ford copied his assembly line stuff from Singer, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
I gotta find a thing for that, but I recently came across that. Like, no, the automotive industry did not.
Ooh, I'm putting a pin in that for a future episode.
Yes. Sewing machine. See, sewing machines invented credit. I mean, people just have forgotten about sewing machines. Darn it. Okay, so planned obsolescence again. Planned obsolescence was first popularized in 1954. Now we're getting up to that post-war glory.
Post-war economic prosperity.
The phrase was popularized in 1954 by Brooks Stevens, an American industrial designer. He was due to give a talk at an advertising conference, of course, in Minneapolis, 1954. Without giving it much thought, he used that term as the title of his talk. From that point on, planned obsolescence became Stevens' catchphrase. By his definition, planned obsolescence was, now think about this, instilling in the buyer the desire to own something a little newer, a little better, a little sooner than is necessary. The phrase was quickly taken up by others, but Stevens' definition was challenged. By the late 50s, this is where it really starts to impact sewing machines. By the late 1950s, planned obsolescence had become a commonly used term for products designed to break easily.
Yeah, it's a derogatory term.
Or quickly go out of style.
Yeah, this is not a positive anymore.
In fact, the concept was so widely recognized that in 1959, car maker Volkswagen mocked it in their advertising campaign. While acknowledging the widespread use of planned obsolescence among major automobile manufacturers, Volkswagen pitched itself as an alternative. We do not believe in planned obsolescence, the ad says. We don't change a car for the sake of change. In the famous advertising campaign, one of their adverts showed a blank page with the strapline at the bottom. No point in showing the 1962 Volkswagen. It looks the same. Volvo was notorious for this, too.
I love this for them. I mean, even now, they're not that different. I mean, you can tell they've been very slow to choose to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit from across the decades all looks the same.
So when styling became, okay, now it's post-war prosperity. And everybody, chicken in every pot.
Yeah. And a car in every garage, very specifically. And one can infer, and a sewing machine in every closet.
Oh, in 1960, cultural critic Vance Packard published The Waste Makers, promoted as an expose of the systematic attempt of business to make us wasteful, debt-ridden, permanently discontented individuals.
Well, that seems to have worked.
Planned obsolescence goes into two subcategories. Obsolescence of desirability. It went out of style. It's not cool
Right,
anymore.
that's where the 2-week season problem really is.
With clothes.
Yeah, specifically.
Especially with clothes. And obsolescence of function. This is stuff that breaks.
Right.
Obsolescence of function. Well, back to sewing machines. The first thing sewing machines do is sew straight. You don't have to have a reverse. You don't have to have a zigzag. You don't even have to have a sewing machine. Once sewing machines were invented and everybody had one, how do we sell them another one?
Right, especially if it could be a family heirloom for 6 generations.
They were built to last. All my old singers, you can take apart the plugs, the light sockets. Everything has pieces you can order, screws. There isn't any part that can't be replaced. They were designed to be fixed. Mike and I won't even work on post-1970 machines. So many of them are designed with no user-serviceable parts inside. Things are glued together, non-standard fasteners, but heavy use of glue. Apple products are known for their impenetrability.
Yeah.
Because they just want to sell you a new one. Unfortunately, that's what I had to participate in when I worked for the Singer Company.
Right.
Don't fix it, sell them a new one.
Right, yeah, because you were there in the 80s. But it's very deeply into the consumerist era.
Oh, Singer in the 80s. We'll get to that. I was hired right before Singer sold their sewing division. But the thing was, as I was trained by them, every repair, you want to think every repair is going to end in a sale of a new machine. That was the goal.
That's just so counter to the reduce ethos. You can't reduce if that's what you're trying to do.
And it was counter to what the original builders of those machines would have. I mean, they were building things to last. Just like Henry Ford, he was building his cars to last with the best technology available. He didn't want them to fail. He was an engineer. He wanted them to be the best. So did Singer and the people that worked for the company. We want to make the best sewing machine. That's why the 201 happened. Because that was, when people say it was the best sewing machine Singer ever made, it's not that it was it was. And not that there weren't others. But that was peak engineered geekery. We're going to build it to last and be the most perfect thing. I actually don't think that machine is the best one for every use. It's very precise and finicky. If you're going to be sewing with heavy thread or horse blankets, a 1591 is a much better choice because it's not a full rotary.
Yeah, no, it makes sense that like a good tool that is perfect for its job will be deeply imperfect for other jobs. You can't be all purpose. It's just really hard to do that. Like,
well, honey, why do you need more than one sewing machine? Well, you got to have, it depends if you're sewing. I mean, the older machines could be adjusted more to be more all purpose. Some of those old guys, I mean, I used to tell my customers, I thread this thing with wire, I could sew sheet metal with it. And some of those old ones you practically could. But you could also make them sew heirloom baby doodahs. So how do you sell sewing machines when everybody has one? You add things, which will bring me to one of my next tales in sales, idiot stories about the Singer Imperial. You want me to sell that? Oh, shit. This is when I started telling customers not to trade their machines in.
but we'll get to that another day.
We'll get to that on another day. The Singer 603 was the last all-metal machine. And that was in the middle 1960s, I believe. Because that series was the first touch and sew series with the bobbins that wound. You didn't have to take them out. They'd wind right in the thing.
Oh, wow.
It was a really convenient thing. Bobbins didn't hold much thread.
Sure.
But since they wound right in there, you didn't have to take, But it was a gimmick. It was a gimmick, right? What are you going to do when you person's machine works just fine? You're going to put some gimmicks on there. So the wind in place bobbin. But the drivetrain was still the same as the old Slant-O-Matic. Same drivetrain. Some updates. Well, the motor, the cams, all the way you got the different stitches was still with levers, and it moved little mechanical doodads. It's still all mechanical. There's no computer anything, and there's no plastic anything. An aside, I read on one of these things, old sewing machines are all metal. Middle era sewing machines are like all metal with a little plastic. Modern sewing machines are all plastic with a little metal.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's true.
Yeah.
I saw that just in my short 3 years, how quick that changed. Okay, so 603E, great. That's my personal cutoff. Well, a few others, because some of the machines that came after that, especially the mid-price Stylist line, which a lot of us learned how to sew on as teenagers in the 70s, is one of the first ones that was made with nylon gears, which is weird. Early nylon wears out, cracks. It cracks. The gears crack in half. They're still available. You can buy them, put them on, but this is not something Mrs. Customer can do. No, use the first serviceable parts inside. That would have never been a customer serviceable thing. But it's like, should I buy this sewing machine? Turn the hand wheel. Open the throat plate. Look where the bobbin goes. Turn the hand wheel. Is anything moving? No? Don't buy the sewing machine. It's got broken gears. I can fix that. Mike can fix that. Mrs. Customer's husband, Mrs. Customer herself could probably fix it if they have the instructions. But that's just a few. But why did they change to plastic gears?
Yeah. Why did they change to plastic gears?
The official excuse was customers aren't taking care of their machines and greasing them like they're supposed to. So we're going to make a surface that doesn't need to be greased, which is different than oiled.
Okay.
It's like the transmission in a manual car. It's like these metal things are cruising together. They need, right?
It's the customer's fault. They're too stupid to deserve metal gears.
Well, that's what the marketing department... Self-lubricating sewing machines. You don't have to oil them anymore. What does that mean? That means they're not designed to last long enough to need oil. And the way they do that is brass bearings, because brass soaks up oil, and it'll soak up enough oil. The really funny thing is somebody says, oh, this machine's almost industrial strength. Like, have you ever seen an industrial sewing machine? This one's a quart low. They have an oil pan and an oil pump and a wick system that feeds all of the moving parts. They're not designed self-oiling. Self-oiling means there's an oil pump and little lines and squirting oil into things. Planned obsolescence stuff. To make a machine that can't be cared for, there's no oil holes. I would sell one of these new machines to people. Well, where do I oil it? You don't.
That's unsettling.
It's unsettling. It's really unsettling, because any of the old all-metal machines, let me just say pre-19, well, let's say pre-19 my birthday, about when the 603E came out. Yeah, it came out about when I was born, early 60s. You got your instruction manual, and there was a whole section devoted to oiling, greasing, cleaning, maintenance, checking bobbin clearance, all this stuff that the customer, like, I saw a meme the other day, old cars' instruction manuals showed you how to gap the spark plugs, and today's manuals say don't drink contents of the battery. How far have we come, you know?
Oh, wow.
So the dumbing down of sewing machine, I mean, it came into your house as a piece of precision machinery that needed cared for, and it became a disposable appliance. Disposable.
It hurts. It hurts knowing where it started. It's not like it's never been a precision machine of wonderment. It was.
It was, and it still is, because millions were made, and they're out there waiting for you to rescue them.
It's true. It's true. I have handled many of them myself. I have some in my room, my sewing room right now. They're out there. They're out there.
And gosh, folks, if you're listening and you're, yeah, okay, I want an old sewing machine, ask your, I don't want to be sexist, ask your older female relatives, hey, you got a sewing machine hiding in your closet? Does grandma have one in the family room? Or did you inherit one from grandma and it's just holding up your portable TV set? Do you have a sewing machine and you want to sew on it? Because after listening to us for a while, you're going to want to.
I sure hope that we're inspiring some people to want to get some stitchery on.
You know, I've told you folks before, my oldest machine is 150 years old. Most of the machines in my personal collection are from between 1895 and 1920. 21. Yeah. No, I have one from 1955. That's my newest one, my 1955. But it's got plastic in it. I've had to replace a pulley, and there's a belt in there that'll eventually break. It's a timing belt. It's metal and cotton thread, and it's just not designed robustly. It's still good, but there's a lot of, I can see where it's going to fail.
Yeah.
I've replaced wiring already because that's something that, okay, 7-year-old wiring probably isn't good. That's another thing. If you want to learn how to sew and your subject machine is electric, we will get to, on our next episode of the machines themselves, we'll talk about electricity.
All right, we'll put a pin in that.
Starting with the Singer 101 barbershop quartet noise.
What machines do I have in my sewing room? I have the black Singer, which is the older one, and that just does the straight stitch. I don't even know which one that is. I just know it's exuberant.
We put a little magnet on it.
A magnet exuberant on it.
So since it's a Singer, we thought an exuberant Singer would be good.
It's an exuberant Singer.
That is a centennial model, which means 1951. If you notice, the badge on the machine has a little blue rim around it. It says a century of sewing service. 1851 to 1951. So in the Singer world, that's a centennial machine.
Gotcha.
This means it was made in 1951 or shortly around in there.
Yeah, sure.
The model is 15-91. It is considered it's under the 201. It's like the next to the top of the line. Gotcha. It's got the same motor as the 201, the same tough gear drive motor, but the whole shape of the body and the way the machine is formed, it's an oscillator. It's an oscillating mechanism. The shuttle, if you look underneath, goes back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that is you can handle a lot. There's more slop in the system. There's a lot more room for thread clearance to adjust for using really heavy thread. If you do get a thread jam, everything pops apart real easy. If you get a thread jam in a 201, you got to take a lot of stuff apart.
Sure, yeah. And then my other machine is the Kenmore. And that one has a lot of like plastic styling and fanciness on the outside.
But the guts are metal.
But yeah, I believe even the pattern cams are all metal.
And the body's metal.
Yes, and the body is metal. Yes. It's really just the aesthetic work.
Yeah.
And I think some of the actual like knobs and dials, those themselves are plastic, but everything else is metal. And that's from when?
That is Sears Best from about 1973 or 4. And Sears had their own factory in Japan. So they weren't buying Japanese machines and putting Sears' name on, Sears Kenmore. They actually had many factories in Japan to make their line of stuff. And this is classic. I mean, the White Sewing Machine Company made all of Kenmore's machines in the 50s and 60s. They just contracted with that American manufacturer. We want you to build this machine. Nobody copied Kenmore's. Kenmore's designs are unique to them. You have to put their machines in their cabinets because the bases are wider. They have this super high bar presser foot. Again, they want to build, I've invested so much stuff into my accessories, I better buy another Kenmore.
And all the accessories are backwards compatible, forwards compatible, all that good stuff within the Kenmore.
Or within
a particular.
The same thing as Singer did.
Oh, really?
Singer changed. Oh my God! Now everything's going to have the slant shank, so you have to replace your vertical shank with the slant shank, which is taller, so now you have to buy all new accessory feet, a whole new buttonhole.
That's how they get you, is the damn accessories.
And why did they change it to the slant needle? Again, we need to add a new feature and tout it. Oh, why? Well, you can see better because now you can see to thread it better.
Because you're saying this machine, yeah.
Okay, so it's an incremental convenience, but incremental convenience. This takes us back to the Singer Imperial.
Yeah, so incremental inconvenience really is the arc of planned obsolescence.
Even the poor little Singer Featherweight.
No.
that was manufactured from 1934 to 1968. The body shape stayed the same, but there were a lot of changes as the design got older. It got less precise. It got cheaper. They started cutting corners. And even though the white featherweights are, quote, rarer in the United States, they're not nearly as good. They have a timing belt. They have just different stuff. They don't sound the same. They're not as strong. So a lot of times the Singer gave that is like it became less cost effective to produce it. The original ones took a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
The hand stamping the plates. The book I have follows through the design, but the basic concept of the machine never changed. Same bobbin case. Everything that changed about it was strictly styling or cost cutting.
Fast fashion?
Even the cases got cheaper and flimsier the farther along in the design things went. Fast fashion.
Fast fashion of the sewing machine, for the sewing machine, by the sewing machine. It's just everywhere.
Yeah. It's just this whole thread of, and it really all starts with that post-war thing. And there was another thing about planned obsolescence, design lifetime. A possible method of limiting a product's durability. This is the part of this that really applies to sewing machines. This could have been written about modern sewing machines.
Okay.
It's so perfect.
Okay.
Possible method of limiting a product's durability is to use inferior materials in critical areas or suboptimal component layouts which cause excessive wear.
Mm-hmm.
This one is classic. Using soft metal and screws till they strip out.
Yep.
And cheap plastic instead of metal in stress-bearing components will increase the speed at which a product will become inoperable through normal usage and make it prone to breakage from even minor forms of abnormal usage. So what they're saying is using cheap materials makes it break quick, even if you use it as intended.
And this is something that has been forced upon us by our industrial overlords.
Okay. For example, small brittle plastic gears in toys are extremely prone to damage if the toy is played with roughly, which can destroy key functions and force the purchase of a replacement. Sewing machine gears. If you break your feed gear, you can't do anything. It's not like, oh, it's stuck on straight stitch. I can't use zigzags or anything. If your feed gear's broke, you're done. Now, you only paid $249.99 for this machine, or $149.99, or something really cheap. And for the sewing machine technician to look at, it's going to cost $100. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to buy a new one with even better features.
Yeah. Oh, it's a reason to upgrade.
And the same cheap plastic gears as the one that just broke.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening to the one just broke? Well, just like fabric, inexpensive sewing machines are made out of mixed materials. Plastic, different kinds of plastic. You've got, in some Singer machines, this stuff called Durex, which is this weird fiberglass cement stuff. That's the ones I was selling were made out of that. It's like football helmets, Mrs. Customer. Bullshit. It's plastic. It's what they call now resin. Plastic. So, and then there's metal inside the machine, right? Oh, it's all metal, they would tell us. It's all metal inside. What kind of metal?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it an alloy? Is it well made?
You know how your bobbin winder on your Kenmore broke?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That material is called pot metal.
Yeah, there it is.
Pot metal is really cheap metal with no structural integrity. You don't ever even know what's in it. It's usually a percentage of tin.
It's like a suicide drink from a soda fountain. It's just all of it.
Yeah, there could be aluminum, tin, any cheap metal, any metal scraps that can be got cheaply. And so they can say, and actually, there are a lot of plastics that are way stronger. If your bobbin winder thing had been made out of nylon, it'd be
out of good nylon instead of shitty metal.
Yeah. And you look underneath the sewing machine, and as the years have gone by, more and more components are being replaced with pot metal. Feed rock shafts, things that aren't directly in the rotational thing. And so we're the last thing to actually be steel, like tool-grade steel, is like just the two main shafts. That's it. Everything else is driven with plastic belts and self-oiling bearings, which we've talked about, aren't. But yeah, the fact that you can't really, as a consumer, repair any modern sewing machine. And the fact that most modern sewing machines aren't designed to be repaired, and those that are take a lot of specialized training, like your friend's friend that does the embroidery machines and the Berninas and stuff. Now, when somebody buys a Bernina, they've invested a lot of money, thousands of dollars. Yeah, they're going to pay the shop rate of $100 an hour. It's no big deal.
Sure, yeah.
But the Bernina is going to last longer than the Singer they got at Walmart.
Right. So if...
Berninas are still... But there's... I mean, I don't know. Everything's made in China now. There's very few things that are not.
Yeah. So if you want to go full mid-century, high-quality, last-forever stuff, you got to go vintage. You got to go secondhand.
Got to go vintage. And I know I'm a person who's involved with Singer and Kenmore and Japanese HAJA imports, but the European machines from that period are also very high quality.
Same idea.
Pfaff, Viking Husqvarna, Necchi, which is an Italian brand. What's that other one? Elna, which is Swiss. But again, once we get past, Europe was bombed all to hell.
Sure, yeah.
One of the things that the U.S. Marshall Plan, which rebuilt Europe through loans to businesses and things, sewing machines was one of the most in-demand things that people wanted. So sewing machines got going again pretty quick. And also, Japan really came back roaring with sewing machines.
Yeah, for sure.
Japanese sewing machines of the 1950s and 60s are works of art. They really are. They cared about building good machines then. But they also knew about design and styling and what Americans wanted to buy. So if you look at pictures of, let's say, 1960 Morse, it's covered with chrome.
We do like our chrome.
Two-tone paint, lots of knobs and dials. It looks like a freaking Buick.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And the cool thing was they did all that design stuff, but those things were tanks. I still was like, oh, you want to buy a really inexpensive, hardcore used machine and you're not really into brand names, let's find you an old Morse Photomatic. Those are like, there aren't many around. Probably now I'm going to say, oh, there aren't any left. If I could see Photomatics get the same attention as featherweights, it'd be great.
Do you have any other notes that you wanted specifically to get to?
Just that the fact that we want people to keep in mind that planned obsolescence is the mechanical version of the fashion cycle. And to buy good things that last and can be repaired, whether it be your appliances or your clothing, is the goal. So your call to action is to, look at your toaster, your sewing machine, your mixer, and to buy an old one and have it checked out by one of us nutty hobbyist types will cost you a little money in the short term. But remember, these machines were designed to last 100 years. And oiling them really isn't that hard.
Well, thank you very much for that info dump. And yeah. There you have it. A series of loosely organized tangents around fast fashion and planned obsolescence, which strayed into the unexpected territory of papermaking, fabric disposal, and parallels between the Ford and Singer companies. This episode helped me appreciate how long of a process it has been to get to this point of fragile, cheap garbage everywhere we turn, as well as just the sheer depth of how far we have fallen. Also, hopefully, I will remember who my particular sewing machines are in the future. As a reminder, we are unofficially sponsored by Stagecoach Road Vintage Sewing Machine, who do repairs and restorations. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us by sharing the podcast with your friends, and also with money at patreon.com/used2sew. Remember, that 2 is a 2. patreon.com/USED2SEW. Thank you for listening to us here at Used to Sew. We always welcome your additions, corrections, and feedback in general. Please reach out to us via email at usedtosew@gmail.com. Used to Sew is a production of Fox and Raven Media. For more podcasts from Fox and Raven Media, visit our website at foxandravenmedia.com.